So many untapped DC comic stories that will make incredible movies or TV shows. Yeah, Hollywood keeps going back to the same characters and storylines. But what if I told you that some of the best DC stories are still waiting to be adapted? So imagine a live action version of The Dark Knight Returns or an HBO level show deep diving into the characters of the Secret Six. But by the end of this video, you're going to know 10 DC comics that absolutely deserve to be turned into movies or TV shows. And trust me, some of these will blow your mind. Now, we already know there are a lot of projects in the works for this new cinematic universe. So far, we've already gotten Creature Commandos, and the DC universe really seems to be starting with the upcoming Superman film that actually releases this summer. But in this video, I want to discuss another 10 potential films or TV shows that haven't been announced or discussed that I believe need to happen. Now, starting with number 10, the first DC project we need is Teen Titans Judas Contract. Now, the reason this is at the bottom is simply due to the fact that a Teen Titans film has already been announced. But at the time of this recording, we know nothing about that movie. And well, Judas Contract is a very popular and beloved Teen Titans storyline that actually already has its own animated film. The main plot involves a member of the team betraying the rest of the group. And in the story, we are first introduced to characters like Deathstroke, who is one of the best assassins DC has to offer. So this would be a great jumping on point for the DC universe while introducing the cast of the Teen Titans and giving us an iconic villain in the process. At number 9, another project we need is a Hellblazer TV series. Now, John Constantine is one of my favorite comic characters of all time. And outside of hardcore fans, general audiences aren't too familiar with the magical hero from Liverpool outside of the early 2000s film played by Keanu Reeves. But a TV series involving John Constantine, aka the Hellblazer, as he's uncovering a magical plot, could give us a well deserved glimpse at the dark magical side of DC. Now, at number 8, a DC event that we need later down the line is Infinite Crisis. Now, this isn't something DC needs to do anytime soon because the Infinite Crisis event deserves to be done after a long build up. But just imagine after years into this DC universe, they give us a two-part Infinite Crisis film, bringing back characters and actors we know and love, like Henry Cavill's Superman or Ben Affleck as Batman. Now, how amazing would that be? At number 7, following up from Lanterns, which is a TV show already in production, we should have a Sinestro Corps War movie. Depending on the story of Lanterns, though, this could be a great pickup point with all of our Green Lanterns we have already been introduced to now having to face off against Sinestro and his army of Yellow Lanterns as they defend the planet Oa or another planet even from an attack. This film could introduce the more cosmic side of DC while giving us more character moments of the Green Lanterns actually being together. And following up from that, at number 6, I would love to have a movie on the Flash 1 Minute War storyline. Now, fortunately, the Flash has so many iconic storylines, but they kind of stick to giving us reiterations of the same two or three. Now, just imagine in this story, you could have the Fraction, who is an alien covenant group, who has the power of the Speed Force, and they arrive on Earth, and the only ones who can fight back are speedsters, people that have access to the Speed Force, like the Flash. And you have an all out war that feels like it spans over the course of years or decades, while the rest of the world is frozen in time. Only for, in the end, the entire battle lasting over the course of 1 minute, as the rest of the DC universe isn't even aware of the battles that have even taken place. Now, that would be amazing. Now, these last 5 are all projects I'm really passionate about. Help we get more than anything. So, starting at number 5, a Static Shock live action series. Now, the character of Static has always been one of my favorite heroes in DC. And besides his early 2000 shows and recent comic run, he has been pretty much MIA from mainstream media. Really, is the entire Milestone slash Dakotaverse. But Static has always been the most popular of those characters. And I believe a TV show focusing on Virgil and eventually introducing other Milestone heroes like Icon and Rocket, possibly having their own spin-off similar to the Arrowverse, will be perfect for DC. Now, at number 4, our first Elseworld story has to be Kingdom Come. Not only is this one of the greatest comic storylines, but since Gunn announced DC will be doing Elseworld stories based on comics, Kingdom Come is a great start. I mean, in this, you will have much older and different versions of heroes we already know, so you don't really have to rely on using the pre-established actors in the DCU unless you truly feel like you're compelled to. And the story of the original Justice League having to now face off against a new generation of reckless and dangerous heroes could be such a great film in today's climate of shows like The Boys. But speaking of Elseworlds, at number three, we could also have a two-part Injustice film where they could also have tie-ins with the main DCU. Now, Injustice is a pretty popular story that has been told dozens of times at this point, but never on the big screen. With this alternate universe of DC heroes and Superman and other heroes alike who have turned bad, you can give it a kind of similar ending to Infinity War, with this evil Superman seemingly winning. And in the sequel, the DC heroes we know get transported over and they have to help liberate this world from their tyrant Superman. Now, Injustice is a story that is well loved and if done right, can make a perfect two-film series. But now going into our final two projects, I have to say something that we desperately need is a Batman Beyond film or series. This could go either way. Now, similar to Static, the character of Terry McGinnis hasn't had much love at all outside of his animated series, but a futuristic Batman Beyond live action show could be amazing. And with the large amount of fan support for the recent fan film Batman Beyond Year One that released in 2024, I know I'm not the only one hoping to see Terry and an older Bruce Wayne finally make their return. But at number one, the DC film I want to see the most, and that I believe has the potential to actually be the greatest DC film of all time, has to be a world's finest film with Batman and Superman. The two most iconic heroes in DC, and quite arguably comics in general, have so many iconic storylines under the world's finest title, and even have two amazing animated films that were already created. Just imagine a movie following not only Superman, but Batman as well. And instead of making them enemies like in the Snyderverse with Batman v Superman, they're actually teaming up to take on an overwhelming threat that they can't handle alone. I mean, if we're being honest, it's about time DC stopped showing us their two greatest heroes fighting and instead showed them working together to actually protect the world they love. I believe World's Finest is something that James Gunn seems to be hinting towards with some of his interviews and Twitter posts, but I think it's something that we definitely need confirmation of in the future. At least after we get the Batman film in this new DC universe, it'll be important that they both have their own established movies, and then following up with that to have them team up together can just make an awesome tale. Now, hopefully, as time goes on, we see this new DC universe prosper, and maybe even some of the projects I've mentioned will actually come to fruition, but only time can tell. So go ahead, comment down below what DC projects you hope to see. And also, what characters do you hope are introduced along the way? But with that, the future is looking very bright for this new DC universe, and I can't wait to see what James Gunn and the rest of the creative team have in store.